Hi everybody. This is the eve before most of the world celebrates Easter. Today I went to a Easter egg thing and got Easter egg dye all over my hands. But hey, it was fun. The kids had a blast. Man, I'm telling you, we hid eggs and they raced to find them, and we hid more eggs, and I mean, we must have had like 10 different hunts for those kids for Easter eggs. The young kids, and then the old kids, and then the little kids would hide eggs for the big kids, and the big kids were hiding eggs for the little kids, and I mean, it was just fun. Lots of things. Some eggs had money in them. There was a penny egg that whoever got the penny won a big prize. It was a Crayola basket with all kinds of paper and markers and crayons for drawing in it. It was beautiful. But had a lot of fun, a lot of food to eat, a lot of good people. We found a little lantern that was hanging from the porch, had 5 baby birds in it. I know we were disrupting Mommy Bird feeding her babies, but I'm sure she'll get back to feeding them when we all decide to leave, when everybody leaves. Poor babies. But it was so cute, little baby bird, 5 baby birds in the lantern right on the porch. It was cute. But anyway, I want there's a few things. I haven't made a video for a few days. I've been listening to other people's videos and watching what other people are saying, and listening to how the JWs and those apologists are tearing everybody up for dare talking bad about the ban in Russia. The whole idea of a ban on the Jehovah's Witnesses in Russia has put a strain on everybody, and the JWs are all freaked out. I had a JW apologist. I don't think they're actually a JW, but they're on my channel, and he left this message. Well, this is the update about the ban in Russia, and you just got to read this, and it's translated to English ahead of time, and all this. And I looked at the link to it, and I'm like, oh man, really? This is a link from jw.org Russia. So instantly it's from their shallow point of view. It's what they think about it. It's not how everyone else sees it. Jehovah's Witnesses just don't seem to understand how the outside world views how the world views them. They have an idea of how to view the world outside their little organization and their little group of people, but when it comes to how the world sees them, they don't have a clue. And you try to explain to them, hey, this is how people view what you're doing, and this is what's going on, and this is what people say, and they'll call you a liar for it. And why call you a liar for it when you're right there and you hear it and see it and know what's going on, and they're isolated in their little JW community and don't have any idea what people are saying about them, and you try to tell them what people are saying about them, and they will call you a liar right to your face. Well, you see, most of us out here have been on both sides. We've spent most of our lives as a JW, and then we get out and experience the real world, and then we get to know what was truth about what we were told the real world was like versus what it is really like, and we realize that we haven't been taught the right things. Kind of like a kid, growing up in the world, and a little kid, their parents are telling them about Santa Claus, and they get to a certain age, and all of a sudden they realize that Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny are just made up things, and they have to think of it in a different way. But some of them feel really bad that it was such a made up thing because they were just so intent on believing it one way. Well, when you're a Jehovah's Witness for your whole life, or a portion of your life, you get used to what that little group tells you. But when you get out, you realize, oh my, You know, what we were told isn't the whole truth. You know, some things that you hear, some things that you hear might have a bit of truth to them, but a lot of time they're flip-flopped or twisted up. Um, the the Russian ban thing, you know, I had people on my channel assuming that since I was writing letters to Russia that I must be a JW, and then they were like, "Oh my, you're an apostate." And it's like, "Okay, so why am I apostate?" What I am is I'm your warning label. I'm telling you what's going to happen because see I've seen both sides and I know what the end of the story is. You don't. So how am I apostate if I'm telling you the truth? You know, I'm not asking you to come, leave your organization and believe the way I do. No, I'm not. I'm not saying you have to follow me or think like I do or do like I do. What I'm saying is that if you choose to leave the organization, do what's right for you. Because everybody that comes out sees things in a different way. Sometimes because of experiences, some things about things that they learn about the real world when they do get out, you know, they become different things. But it doesn't make any of them, none of them, it doesn't make any of them bad people. A lot of people have the law of Christ and the law of God written right in their hearts, and no matter where they go or what they do or what they become, are still going to be followers of Christ and live their life according to the way Christ said you should live your life. You don't need to go to an organization to tell you how to believe the way Christ said to believe, because it's written right there in the Bible for everyone. It's written there for each and every one to see. Now the Jehovah's Witnesses talk about, well, the poor brothers and sisters in Russia are going to be so persecuted, and you know, persecution comes right before the end, and all this. But if they're not banned in Russia, then the Jehovah's Witnesses will say, see, Jehovah was on our side. No matter if bad things happen, you say that it's God's will, and if something good happens, you say it's God's will. So it doesn't matter what happens, you're still gonna think the same thing, you know. And that's where the twisting comes in, because okay, so what was bad about it to begin with then? Or what was good about it to begin with then? You need to examine those ideas and find out, well, you know, if it does happen, why? And if it doesn't, why? You know, you got to think about those things. You know, look at the whole picture, not just one itty bitty piece of it like the organization is making you look at. You have to step back. You know, step back, open your eyes, listen, look around, watch what's going on, and learn for yourself. Don't just have a religious organization dictate to you how you think and what you hear and what you say and all of that. There was a video that I saw on jw.org, and it was talking about the publications, and it had to do with, you know, the faithful and discreet slave giving food at the proper time, all that stuff, you know. So where does the food, so-called food, that they distribute from Watchtower, where does that come from? And they're going through the printing process and who writes the articles and all that, but most Jehovah's Witnesses think that the publications have something to do with the governing body, because they're the ones that are channeling Christ's word to the members, that the governing body is sitting there writing books and writing magazines for people to read, as, you know, channeling it from God, and that it's written down, and that's what you're supposed to read, and that's what you're supposed to learn, that's what you're supposed to know. But it's nothing like that. You see, they have people that are working out of their homes, remote workers, that write articles, any article, Maybe they're given a subject, maybe not. Maybe they just write an article and they submit it. Well, what the governing body does is they go through the article and make sure that the article is following the doctrine. And right on jw.org, they have a governing body member that speaks and says that they are the guardians of doctrine. And that's their job, is to make sure that the literature that gets put out by Watchtower follows the doctrine that religious organization tries to teach. So they have to make sure that the articles that they get from whoever, wherever, that the articles follow the doctrine that they're trying to teach people. They don't actually write the articles. There is no food at the proper time. They pick the articles that they want. They might reprint an article that was printed 35 years ago or 20 years ago, and then they'll use the same for instances and the same Bible verses and references and all that. They put the same thing in the article and then they'll print it again. They do that in 69, 72, 79. They keep reprinting those things and keep putting those in there until the articles, even the people that are still in the organization, realize that they're repetitive. Well, then the organization says, well, it has to be repetitive, because how are you going to retain it if you don't hear it over and over and over again? Well, come on, people. There's more new news in the world, and there's more new things that are coming around than to use the same old articles over and over again for the people to hear. But the food at the proper time, that's because they're just picking it off the shelf according to what they want to talk about. And the articles might be 15 years old, or the articles might be 6 months old, but they're not printed by the governing body. That so-called channel from God to give you the proper food at the proper time isn't through the governing body. The governing body only makes sure that the publications follow the doctrine that is supposed to be taught. And every once in a while they get together in their meetings and they say, well, we need to change this little bit of the doctrine. And they deal with the doctrine of what they want you, how they want you to act. But they don't have anything to do with feeding you the information that you get. That's done by the publishing company. Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is a publishing company. Jehovah's Witnesses is the religion part of it that goes along with Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. So they're two different entities, and because Watchtower Bible and Tract Society and Russell and Rutherford had started writing all those books, well, pretty soon a religion formed behind the publications that they were printing, and they had to make sure that these people were doing what they wanted them to do. That's why the New Light comes out, because they try to adjust things, and they'll tell you that God wants them to adjust it, but actually it's them that want to adjust it. They say that they pray about it, and sometimes it takes years and all this other stuff. Oh, come on. Take a deeper look into it. Step back. Look at the big picture. And see what's actually happening between the publishing company and the religious organization. Two different entities. And then, like you've heard before, there's also the Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses. They put out letters from the society to the elders, more of what have to do with the legal part of it, or the judicial part of the multi-entity corporation that Watchtower Bible and Tract Society has become over the last 130 years. So you have the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses, Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, and several more entities that are part of the corporation of Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. And where they get their food isn't really from the channel of God, Jesus, the governing body, to you. That's not what happens. It comes from remote workers that work for free at home, writing articles, and then the governing body makes sure that the doctrine is correct inside those articles before they get published by the publishing company and get sent out to people or printed on the internet for the members to hear and to read. But I get back to the ban in Russia. It created a lot of different little side arguments between the ex-Jehovah's Witnesses and the Jehovah's Witnesses and Jehovah's Witness apologists and people like that said, all these terrible things, and if they are really professing to be Jehovah's Witnesses or Jehovah's Witness apologists, well, they shouldn't be so mean. They really shouldn't threaten people's lives, and they shouldn't say, well, you're going to die. Because, number one, Jehovah's Witnesses, as a group, as an entity, as a corporation, as a religion, have no right whatsoever to dictate or to tell anybody who's going to live or die in Armageddon, because they don't know. They'll sit there and tell you, oh no, we don't know. We don't have any say over who lives and dies in Armageddon. But see, those apologists and everybody get on the internet and tell us ex-Jehovah's Witnesses that, oh no, you're going to die in Armageddon. Well, we blow that off because you don't know that. Nobody knows that. That's up to God and Jesus, who lives and dies in Armageddon. And he's going to read our hearts, and he's going to know what kind of people we are. And we don't go around saying filthy, nasty things to Jehovah's Witnesses like they say to ex-JWs. And I know that for a fact. I don't go around telling Jehovah's Witnesses that they're going to die. And I don't tell them that. I tell them that I love Jehovah's Witnesses. I used to be one. I understand where you are and how you think. I understand that. What I'm trying to tell Jehovah's Witnesses is that they're being lied to, manipulated, and misled by an organization, corporation, hiding behind a religion that they are members of. That's what makes me mad, is the governing body and the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society are lying to, misleading, and manipulating its members into thinking, acting, talking, doing whatever they tell them to do blindly. And I don't think anybody in this world should do anything blindly. And when you try to explain things to them, because, see, we got that t-shirt that says, been there, done that, and you don't. So when we know what we've been through, and I know a lot of them say, oh, well, you're so angry. You're angry at Jehovah's Witnesses because you feel like you've been wronged. No. Most of us do not feel that we've been wronged. Most of us think and believe that we escaped with our lives. We escaped a cult and an organization that was manipulating us and lying to us and misleading us. And we are happy. We're not miserable. We're not angry. We are upset with Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, not individual Jehovah's Witnesses. And if they would watch these videos and they would hear these people talk, they would understand that. But you see, they look at a title on a video, or they listen to the first 2 seconds, and they don't listen to the whole thing. And they don't understand how much compassion and care and concern that we have for the people that are still in the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. Because if we didn't care and it didn't matter, we wouldn't put forth the time and effort to try to reach you. In the hopes that you would also realize that there are good people outside the organization. Nobody's going to hurt you. No one wants you to die. No one wants you dead. We're not following Satan or anything like that. We're not devil worshippers. We know people that do worship the devil, and it ain't us. That's a different group of people. We are followers of Christ, and we follow Christ's commands and Christ's rules. And we do our preaching and we do our witnessing of the things that Jesus did. We do that towards you as a gift out of compassion and love. You see, I had a JW, and I have to say a JW because it didn't seem like a JW apologist. They were talking about this here, my roll of toilet paper. And they actually told me that I wipe my rear and blow my nose with the same paper. And I'm like, who hasn't blown their nose on toilet paper before? Really? Who hasn't grabbed toilet paper and blown their nose before? And they try to make it like it's something disgusting, or that I wipe my butt and then blow my nose on the same paper that I wipe my rear. That's totally disgusting. And yet they'll call themselves a Jehovah's Witness. You know? Dirty mind, gutter-filled mind. And they're going to say that to people. And then come knock on your door and say, oh, we're Jehovah's Witnesses. We're such a lovely group of people. We're the happiest people on the planet. No, you're not. No, the things that JWs and JW apologists have said on YouTube pages and threatening people's lives and telling us that we're going to die when it's not your right or privilege or knowledge whether we're going to die or not. That just blows me away. And we're trying to be loving toward Jehovah's Witnesses and people that follow Jehovah's Witnesses and show them what we've been through and all the kindness of our heart, trying to explain what is real. And we're treated like terrible. Where do you learn that from? Who teaches you to treat people that way? I think you need to think about that. Who is teaching you to treat people that way? You're not learning it from us. We spend our time and energy trying to help you. Watchtower is crumbling. The Watchtower Corporation is crumbling. They do a lot of things that they have not told you about. They hide it from you and think that that's the right thing to do. When if you're a member of that organization, you should know what they're doing. But they don't tell you. And they hide it from you. And they lie to you about it. You need to research it and look. We're not lying. None of us are. We talk about the Australian Royal Commission, you blow everybody off. You will not look it up. You will not examine it. You just refuse. And why is that? Nobody has come up with a good answer to that. No one. No one has come up with a good, logical explanation as to why Jehovah's Witnesses refuse to acknowledge that the Australian Royal Commission happened and that Jeffrey Jackson was on the stand. None of that. They won't discuss it. They blow you off right away, shut you up right then and there. They'll hang up on you if you're talking to them on the phone. They won't talk to you about it. If you call Bethel, if you call the headquarters in New York and ask them, they will not talk to you about it. They will not. No one will say anything about it. Even the people that are there at the same headquarters where Jeffrey Jackson operates out of will not acknowledge or will not talk about it. There's something wrong with that. Really. You should know what's going on. You should know why he was there. You should know why people are suing the organization. You should. So I think you just should just look into it. Talk to you later.